Hello and welcome back guys to another video. I love to talk about hardware gear, so today I have my top 5 synths for techno production. I've sold almost all of my hardware gear because I have like my modular system, so I sold the other synths because there was like no use anymore for them, because I'm really focused on this one, and this one's also replaced all of the other gear. The only one I kept is the Behringer Edge. It's like the Moog DFAM clone. And yeah, I know there are people which are really not cool with that somebody's using like Behringer gear, because it's obviously a copy of the original one. But the thing is, it sounds really good. It's very cheap. Instead of spending 800 euros, I think, or 700, this one was like 200 to 300. And yeah, it sounds very, very nice. And this is also the first synth I can recommend to you guys. The Behringer Edge or the Moog DFAM, the original one. The improvement on the Edge is like the MIDI input. The Moog DFAM does not have MIDI input, and this is very important to me because I need to sync all my gear right here, and I also work a lot with MIDI inside Ableton Live, and if I can sync it with my gear, it makes things a lot easier. I mean, the Moog DFAM, you can use a MIDI to CV converter and also use it with the gear, but it's like more complicated, you know, and there are so many sound demos. I watched all of them. I also used the original Moog DFAM, but it's just sounding the same. There is like no difference. Maybe a small one, it sounds like, yeah, it sounds maybe on if you're using like extreme filter envelope kind of shit, it sounds maybe a bit different, but at the end it's the same synth, you know. So this is why I kept this one, and I also use this one. I wouldn't say a lot, but I use it frequently. So yeah, it's just a nice synth for like percussion, for low end grooves, and for like synths. Yeah, it's amazing. It's very creative, you know. It's not the basic type of VCO. It's just very creative, because you can also patch your own stuff here to the sequencer, and you can get very, very creative sequences out of it. So yeah, a big recommendation, the Behringer Edge. All gear I will show you today is linked up down below this video, so if you're interested in get some information or buy or whatever, you can just go under this video and click on the link, and yeah, it will lead you to the product. So yeah, let's continue with the second one. The second one is the Minimoog, or also the clone, the Model D from Behringer. I used to have the Model D at the beginning in my modular case. The Model D is like a very nice bass synth, I would say. It's also a really nice synth for getting into the synth world or the modular world or whatever, because it's a full analog synth like the Behringer Edge or the Moog DFAM. And it has 3 oscillators, and filter, an envelope, a noise oscillator, some mod options. I don't know 100% like the synth in my head, but it's a very, very nice synth to start up with. I think Model D would be also the first synth I would get now if I would start to producing techno and stuff. I think the Model D would be the first synth I would get, because it's fucking easy to get a nice patch. It has a very fucking good low end, and you can get some very, very nice sequences out of it. Like I said, I had it before in my modular case. I sold it like a month ago, but I think maybe at some point in my life I will get once again the Model D, because it was like, yeah, I use it a lot. Today I use like the VST version. There is like the Monarch, I think, or in the Arturia V collection there is also the Minimoog. So I'm using the VST one, but the analog one, the real hardware one, sounds just better, you know. So yeah, definitely a recommendation, the Model D. Also, if you're just starting out or whatever, take the Model D. If you try to understand it, if you get into it, you will just start to understand like every synth, you know. It's very, very friendly for beginners. And yeah, so let's continue with the next one. The third synth on my list is the Korg MS-20, and the MS-20 is like very, very creative synth. You can just get some nice synth sounds out of it, you can get some nice percussions out of it, you can produce a whole track, album, whatever with the synth, but it's a bit complicated because when I used to use the MS-20, I was a bit lost in the first place because you need to spend a lot of time to really understand how it's working, how the path is going with the synth. So it's not like 100% user-friendly as the Model D. That's why I also said get the Model D first, because after the Model D I got the MS-20 and I was like, okay, fuck, I get like no sound out of this. So it took me a while to understand that synth, and the workflow is like not the best one, not the coolest one, because you just need to tweak a lot, patch a lot. And the thing is also, the Model D I was using only for low end. So if you use the MS-20 like for multiple type of sounds, you need to always repatch and trigger everything. So yeah, it got like a bit complicated. It's also why I sold the MS-20. I also had the Behringer one. There is the K2, which is the copy of the MS-20. Also sounds really nice. So there is like no difference to the original one. Maybe like the original one is a bit warmer or something, because it's just about 20, 30, 40 years old, whatever. So yeah, this is the point. But the Behringer stuff is really nice. There's like almost on every nice synth there is a clone from Behringer, which is like a quarter of the price. So this is why I always get the Behringer first, because I just can get into the synth, check if this is something for me, and if I really like it, I can get an upgrade and get the original one or whatever. But in the first place, I'm going with Behringer gear because it's like sounding almost the same, and you can really get into the synth first, you know. And yeah, so the MS-20, very creative, very nice, sound very good. Also for techno, yeah, definitely a recommendation, but like I said, not beginner friendly. You need to spend some time to get into that synth. So yeah, the synth so far was like mono synths or synths for the bass or the mid regions, also some percussions, and there is definitely missing some Atmo or pad sounds. And for this one I would go with the synth number 4, and this is the Korg Minilogue. Or as an alternative, I would also go with the Novation Peaks. The Novation Peaks is a bit more expensive than the other ones. The Korg Minilogue is about 500, I think, at the moment, or the Minilogue XD, I think, is the Korg Minilogue is like the half price of the Novation Peak at the moment. The Novation Peak is above 1,000 euros at the moment, I think, but the Novation Peak is really a synth. You can also do like everything with that. You can do some nice texture, Atmo, pad sounds, you can do some nice bass, some mid-range synth, whatever. The Novation Peaks is really a big recommendation, but like I said, it's a bit expensive, so maybe you can go also with the Korg Minilogue, which one is like half of the price of the Novation Peaks. And yeah, the Novation Peaks and the Korg Minilogue are also polyphonic synths. That means that you can play easily some chords, pads, sounds, whatever on your MIDI. If you go with the other one, you cannot, because these are mono synths, and yeah, they just can receive one note at once, so there is no possibility to play chords on them. You can just pitch the oscillators to different frequencies or whatever, or record like multiple sequences, but there is like no option to play chords on them. That's why I said we are missing some pad or Atmo sounds, because this is the huge difference to the other ones, that you can play 3 notes at once and get those pad sounds or chord sounds. On this one, on the Minilogue and the Novation Peaks, you can also use some FM synthesis or whatever. They are really creative and go more deeper into synth synthesis like the other ones. So yeah, you can use them perfectly for textures, pads, or also bass sounds, whatever. They are really versatile for techno. The last one is like a synth I would get definitely as next one. And this is the Moog Labyrinth. The Moog Labyrinth is a new synth from Moog. I never used that on my own. All the other synths I used before, so I can recommend them, but the Moog Labyrinth I have not used before. I only watched a lot of videos on the Moog Labyrinth, and it's looks like a very creative synth, and I really want to get this one, especially for techno with the two sequencers running against each other, and you can get really nice polyrhythmic modulation sequences, whatever, and yeah, you can get really nice sequences, I think, out of it. So this is like not a real 100% recommendations out of my experience, but only based on what I've seen so far. And yeah, the Moog Labyrinth is definitely the synth I will get as my next synth for my collection right here. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I love to talk about gear. This is why I love to make videos like this. As I mentioned before, down below this video there are links to all of this gear I mentioned in this video. So if you're interested in some details or even want to buy it, you will find it under this video. And if you have any questions or something, leave them in the comments down below or hit me up on Instagram. And if you don't want to miss any valuable tips in the future or some gear talk, whatever, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next video.